What's up? This is All From Phone, guys. Today I want to talk to you about air-fuel ratios. This is going to be a quick little lesson on why you need an air-fuel gauge and just pretty much tell you what your air-fuel gauge is telling you. So, basics for a O3 Matrix ECU is what I'm running at the current moment because my R9K is getting a tune for the 3-inch. You're going to see differences between that and a tuned ECU. So, my O3 Matrix ECU right now, at the present moment, is running at full throttle, 10-to-1 air-fuel ratio. 1 second. And that compared to a tuned ECU, you'll see the differences here in a minute. And that's kind of why I wanted to do a video on this, guys, because I want you to see the differences, okay? Like, somebody can tell you what's going on, but I think I'm a visual type of dude, and when I visualize stuff, it just kind of clicks in my brain. So that's why I wanted to make a visual, I guess, tutorial about how your air fuels work. So when I say 10-to-1 on a O3 Matrix ECU, what does that mean? Okay, so a 10-to-1 air fuel ratio is rich. Okay, so when you're seeing that number that says 10 point, something, like wide open throttle, that's a rich mixture. Why do manufacturers do that? Well, for the safety of the engine, honestly. So like right now, I'm in second gear, full throttle. It'll drop down to 10. You see how it dropped down to 10, full throttle? The higher in the RPM range you get, as you can hear in my car, the richer the mixture is going to get, up until the point where you open up lift on this vehicle, and then when lift opens up, obviously it pushes the valves in a little more. You get a little more bang because you get a little more air and fuel into the combustion chamber, and it leans out the mixture. So in a performance car, there's certain, tunes and stuff like that that manufacturers do to give you a little bit more performance, but for the most part, they usually run a safe base map or a stock map for your car. So as you saw there, I had it full throttle in second gear, and I wasn't seeing anything past 10 at full throttle and high RPM. Once lift kicks in, I'll do one pull where lift kicks in, and you guys can see it'll go up to like 11.5. I probably won't pass that, but the reason, like I said, it does that is because you're leaning out the mixture. You're getting more air and fuel into the combustion chamber. So a tuned vehicle. In a tuned vehicle, the reason you get smiles is because when you're at wide open throttle, usually the tuner maintains that air fuel mixture at 12.5, 13-to-1. And the leaner the mixture, the more horsepower you're going to make and the more smiles it'll bring. 12-to-1, 13-to-1 at wide open throttle at a high rev range, I wouldn't say it's dangerous, but over time it can put more wear and tear on the vehicle. And this is why the manufacturers don't do it. So in a tuned vehicle, it's very important to get decent quality gas and make sure that the gas that you're putting into it is what the car's tuned. What the car's tuned for. So, like, let's say your car's tuned for 91. Here in Florida, we get 93. Ha ha ha. But so 93. If I go and put 89 in this car, it's gonna start to ping. Why does it do that? Well, if you guys don't know what your ratings mean, 93 octane means that the gas burns slower. So when you're putting more heat into the combustion chamber, leaning out the mixture. So another thing I didn't explain, the fuel acts as like a cool down for the combustion chamber. So the more gas that's in there, the cooler the combustion temperatures are. So that's another reason why manufacturers do that, just to keep the combustion chamber nice and cool, or not. I mean, obviously it's in the thousands of degrees sometimes, or like hundreds of degrees. So when I say cool, I mean cooler than or to keep it from detonating. So what happens if you put 89 in a tuned car that's tuned for 93? You will get detonation. Detonation is like the pre-spark, like it lights up the gas because there's so much heat in there, and you pretty much pre-detonate. So that's not good. You can have pinging in your engine. Like, let's say when you go full throttle at like 89 and you have a 93 tune, you're gonna hear like marbles in your engine. It sounds like marbles. I don't know if you've ever heard that in anybody's car, but it's because they're running crappy gas. This car, bone stock, demands that you put nothing less than 91. And the reason being is because it's a high compression motor. A high compression motor, more combustion temperatures, you need that gas that burns slower. Just for the fact that it cools the combustion chamber. So, just a quick little lesson right there about gasoline and why it's important. If I was wrong on anything, don't shoot me in the comments. Like, it's not easy to make a video and remember stuff. So anyways, just a quick little run through of why it's important to run the proper gas in your car. But anyways, like I said before, guys, a tuner is gonna tune your car to run as lean or as safe as possible in the lean side to give you more bang in the engine. So on a non-turbo car, your optimum tune or optimum air fuel ratio is 12:5 to 13:1, and that would be throughout the entire rev range up until you get to like about 8,000 RPM or so. It's gonna enrich in a little bit, maybe 11, just to be on the safe side, because guys, the more revolutions the engine is making, the more friction, the hotter it gets. So it's pretty common knowledge, but for some of you, you might not know that. So I got a comment the other day, some kid was like, what's RPM? So revolutions per minute is what RPM stands for. And if you see an X 1000 RPM on your tach, that just means you get the number and you times it by 1,000. So 5 is 5,000 revolutions per minute. 6 is 6,000 revolutions per minute. So at a high RPM, like 8,000 RPM, pretty much the end of our power band on this car, that's a lot of revolutions. So obviously parts are going to get warmed up. And the reason tuners usually, like at a high RPM range, you'll see them enriching the mixture is because of that. There's a lot of friction and a lot of heat. They need to cool down that heat with some more fuel. So yeah, but just so you guys know what it's for, why tuners do what they do, I wanted to kind of explain that in this video. So just a quick one. I'm gonna do full throttle in third gear so you guys see. So as you guys can see, you only saw maybe 11 to, I honestly wasn't looking because I was driving pretty quickly there. You probably saw 11s and nothing pretty much higher than that. And that's just, it is what it is. That's your stock tune. There's this kid in a Mustang trying to race me. Look. But anyways, so yeah, just wanted to explain that. I'm going to be getting my tune here pretty soon. I'll show you guys what that looks like once the tune is here, and it'll explain a little more of what I'm talking about when you're seeing 12 to 12.5, 13 to 1s on full throttle. But But I just wanted to explain that to you because a lot of you guys are just getting tunes, not really knowing what's going on. And this is a good way just to know, you know, how your car's running. And the reason why it's important, guys, is because when you're getting your tunes done, if you're seeing numbers like in the 15s, 16s at wide open throttle, that's a dangerous thing. You can blow up your car, and that is no bueno. So just be on the lookout. If you don't have a air-fuel ratio gauge, get one. Especially if you're gonna tune your car. You want to know what your numbers are at. You want to pay attention to that stuff because that's important. It will tell you if you have problems. Like, just to give you an example, if let's say you have an intake manifold leak and a tuner gives you something that's supposed to be in the 12s, 13s to 1s at a full throttle and you're seeing 15s, it's a possibility you have a vacuum leak, that you're letting more air into the engine than you're supposed to. You could possibly have an intake manifold gasket leak. You could have, you know, just, there's a lot of things, guys, that, you know, that air fuel will tell you if you get to know it and get to know your car. And yeah, it's an important thing to have when you're starting to put stuff on your car and tuning your car. It's kind of like a must-have, to be honest with you. I think I covered all my bases. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And again, once I get my 3-inch intake, I will, you know, take another video of my air fuel ratios. And yeah, so I'll do one more pull. I will do one more pull with my exhaust open and see if that changes anything. And it should, because you're getting more exhaust out. But we'll see here in a minute. Just for the sake of doing it and showing you guys, I'm gonna open up my exhaust and then do one more pull like that. If you saw with my exhaust open, I'm getting 12, like right into the 12s. I think it's just the computer compensating for more exhaust coming through. But yeah, you can see that. It's pretty cool. You can see the changes, how the computer kind of compensates for certain things that it sees and certain values. At the moment, guys, I actually have a check engine light. Let's see if I show you. See the check engine light? I have a check engine light for because I did buy it. And the reason I had an issue with it was because when I was getting my cutout put in, it kind of hit the floor a couple of times. And ever since then, I would have, you know, on and off issues with the O2 sensor. So I finally got around to getting one. I'm going to replace it, so it should be running even better. And that does affect your air-fuel ratios too. Only typically in my case, it was only affecting it in the morning when you very first start up the car. But yeah, I'm going to fix it here in a little bit. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, don't thumbs down. And subscribe. Peace out.